Yeah, hear me good?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're good, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't have my earphones, bro, so I was like, fuck, I mean, I don't know if we could do it, but I mean, we're good.
Yeah, well, you don't need
yeah,
headphones.
we
I
can
hear
hear
you.
you good.
Awesome.
I hear you. I was
How's that?
like, unless you're on the cardio machine and you're trying to
Nah,
join in.
I'm puffing and puffing on that cardio machine. You're tripping.
I thought you were not doing cardio today.
Dude, I got cardio 4 times a week. I mean, I'm cruising right now. It's 20 minutes on the Stairmaster 4 times a week, so it's not too bad. I prefer that over, treadmill, or the bike. I mean, I need to drop my legs, bro. That's the only way I'm gonna make weight.
You gotta drop your legs.
What's the weight right now?
I weighed in today at 221 and my cap is 202
What's
Okay.
what's um what's your height?
between 5'9", 5'10", so it's 202 is my cap.
Okay. Yeah. No, I asked because I'm like 5'7", 5'8", in
Yeah,
the day.
so I mean I'm 10 and a half weeks out and I gotta drop at least, I would say, at least 20 more pounds.
You're gonna do Miami again?
I'm gonna do Miami again. So I'm gonna start off by doing Pittsburgh. New York is a maybe. And then my coach, he doesn't want me to do New York just because political reasons. And then, I mean, bro, you know how the sport is. Everything's fucking
Yeah.
political.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
maybe New York, maybe not. The good thing is it's an hour away from Pittsburgh. So if I do Pittsburgh, it's, the flight is not too long. And
Yeah.
then we'll go straight to New York and then we'll come back to Miami. I mean, Miami is right down the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everything's
Literally.
Oh,
open. Let's do Miami.
we'll all be there. We'll be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll definitely be there.
So
running
Yeah.
because
back.
Chris he did the amateur Muscle Beach last year.
And
So
I remember seeing you, man, and not to like blow smoke up your butt like a lot of people do, but your physique was so crazy. It was just like bubbly, and it's like, dang, man, that's nice, man. And
Yeah.
I'm very new into
Chris,
bodybuilding,
Chris,
so
I blow smoke up him every single day.
but it's more like I feel like when it's heartfelt, when it's straight from the heart. Like I'm not really big into bodybuilding yet. Like these guys are getting me into it. I just started competing last year, so just like it's very eye opening seeing other faces than the ones we're used to seeing, like your Brandon Hendricksons and
How long you been
you know
competing for?
since 2022.
Oh, I mean, we started competing together. I started competing 22 as well.
Okay, that's great. Well, let's start this podcast so we can start.
Yeah.
I'm
Are
pretty
we?
sure we're gonna
Yeah.
get into all this stuff.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
Oh, we
just
started. Yeah, no, Brandon, it's great to have you on, man. Like, honestly, I told the guys there's a lot of great people in the sport, there's a lot of horrible people in the sport, but you've probably been one of the most genuine athletes I've met. Um, Honestly, just loves their craft and is super supportive of the people around them. So I want to get your thoughts with what you just said about starting not too many years ago, like the foundation of what brought you here, your path, why you are where you are today.
like a brief introduction too, so
I mean,
everyone.
so bodybuilding really was never in my plan. You know what I mean? Like, I've always been playing sports. I've always been an athlete since I was younger. I played football. I played any sport you can think of, basketball, track. So I've always been an athlete. I've always had that foundation. I always loved the gym, but I didn't think anything of bodybuilding. It was just being an athlete. And then I think it was probably around. Everybody will tell me, yo, you got a good physique, you should go bodybuilding. I'm like, nah, fuck that shit, bro. And then they'll continue to tell me, and I was like, you know what, maybe one day. And I just kept pushing it aside. So then at some point, I think I met one of my friends now, Mike Papastavos.
Yes,
He's with
yes,
he's with
Lolita.
Lita, yeah.
Yeah,
So I met him, and he's the one that actually got me into bodybuilding. So he told me, yo, like you could get your pro card this year. And I mean, shit, I prepped my first competition with Southern States in 2022. I got into bodybuilding because of him. Prepped 4 weeks, qualified for nationals, and I was like, fuck, nationals is a really big thing. It was a few months away, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna push for it. And I mean, we got a pro card like fucking, you know, what is it? July, June, July, within 6 months.
that's crazy. So
And you got that naturally too.
Yeah, I got there naturally as well.
Like
nice.
that was
What shows like what was your first amateur show, and
So
was it
my first
directly?
show was Southern States in July
Okay.
2022. And then from there, I went straight to Nationals, NPC Nationals, which was held in Orlando. Now
Okay.
it's in Texas, but they were held in Orlando. So I got my pro card there.
So
And I
two show
took,
pro. That's a
yeah,
That was the last time it was in Orlando, bro.
that was the last year in Orlando, which
Yeah, I
was dope,
remember that
bro.
year, bro.
It was dope because it was down the
That
street.
was 2022, you said?
That was 2022.
That was the year I was supposed to compete in nationals, bro, and I got into a car accident, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I got second place.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
This is
Um,
it?
that was it.
Oh,
That
it's
was
What's
2022.
wrong?
I
yeah.
took 2023 off to grow, and that was my first time using anabolics, I obviously like once you become a pro, I think it's very difficult at being natty to be competitive at in the sport. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm just gonna take the bare minimum, see how it goes. A lot of guys just say, fuck it,
and
I'm
it
gonna
did a lot, I imagine.
it did a lot, dude. I put on 20 plus pounds of muscle in 1 year.
I mean, would you classify yourself as like a hyper responder?
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, I mean, I was pushing food. I was eating. So my first coach after I turned pro was Neo Yoda. I worked with him for about 6 months. Dude, like we ended up pushing probably around 4,000 calories plus. Very mild gear, tests, maybe a little bit of DECA, maybe a little bit of EQ. And then from there, 6 months later, I changed coaches, which is the one I'm currently with right now. And I mean, he prepped me, and I'm still with him. I mean, I don't have anything bad to say about him. Um, I mean, he brought my best look. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are you with right now?
Louis Santo. You probably don't know him. Yeah, we'll keep it down low.
Okay. That's good though. That's good. I
Yeah.
like that.
So he prepped me for the Optimum, which was my pro debut. I got second, behind Alex Toplin. Um,
Okay.
we ran into a bunch of issues. So obviously, it was my first season using anabolics, and I found out I was allergic to grapeseed oil. Which probably around 8 weeks out, obviously when 8 weeks down, you start using anabolics to cut, like your cutting cycle. So I found out I was allergic to grapeseed oil. So I ran into, dude, I thought I had the flu. I thought I was gonna die. I was like fever, cold chills, like you name it, like all flu symptoms. And then from there, my coach is like, dude, it's just impossible. And I'm like, nah, bro, like some shit's fucking wrong. Like this shit's not
Yeah.
normal. And obviously, I can't say it was, I thought it was bad gear. I changed brand. I was like, no, maybe this other brand is fucking bad as well. And I changed three different brands, and I was like, no, bro, there's no way, it's impossible. So then I started, putting two and two together, and I figured out it was grapeseed oil. So then from
But
there,
that's crazy because that could have literally killed you.
yeah, bro, like my coach was telling me, yo, you got to keep pushing. Like I thought I was gonna die. I was on the verge of saying, fuck this prep, I'm done.
So this was how far out from the show date?
8 weeks out, all the way probably to around 3 to 4 weeks out. I was running through infections. Like my site injection would just flare up. Um,
That's a good indicator.
bro, it was bad.
Yeah.
I thought usually you think it's bad gear.
Yeah.
Well, after going through different brands, it's impossible.
I mean,
It's impossible.
bro, look at this. I mean, night and day.
That
There's
was,
like,
yeah.
yeah,
So
beast.
So on top of that, I ran into all those issues with grapeseed oil, and then after that, I had a scale that was 4 pounds heavier from my cap. So the day before the show, weigh-in day, I couldn't eat anything. I didn't drink water, and I had to hit the sauna. And I mean, we still peaked for what it was. We peaked really well, and then obviously, they told me I didn't get my feedback. I was like, bro, fuck this shit. I mean, I was happy I got second. It's my pro
I
debut.
mean, you knew the feedback already.
But yeah,
Right.
I've always gotten compliments about my chest, feedback on my chest to grow my upper chest. So I'm just looking at everybody, like I'm dissecting everybody as well as myself. And I'm like, you know what? I think it was posing related. So then I was like, maybe I could have won due to the fact that I couldn't show that much of a V taper. Because I was crunching down on my abs. I mean, you can definitely see it. It's day
Well,
and night.
a lot of people think that when you turn, you're going to help the taper, but what happens is then you hide your other lat. So it's a bit of a
Hide the
trade-off.
lat and the shoulder, so you have a smaller V taper, right? You can't show that shoulder to waist ratio. So in this, I looked at my pictures and I started comparing. I'm like, damn, like I need to open up more. It's not even about opening up more. I just need to twist a little bit more. Um, I
So
thought, yeah,
sorry, so your cues for when you make these tweaks, right? Like you've been practicing a certain way. I think a lot of competitors run into this where they want to make a tweak, but obviously what they have going on is second nature. So I know for me, one of the things I've been trying to do is just where my foot places is tends to be how much I'm tilted. What do you do on stage to make sure like, hey, like this is the change I need to make, and I'm going to make sure I get it right.
well, I mean, for the foot placement, like you see the foot placement here is exactly the same.
Yeah, the same.
But the only thing that changes is the upper. You know what I mean? A lot of guys tend to want to crunch down hard on the abs, but
Yeah.
when you're
Your
peeled,
torso's moved forward too.
yeah, I'm not leaning back and crunching down. So when you're
Yeah.
peeled, they're gonna come out regardless. You know what I mean? It's not like if you have a tight core, it's gonna be there
Yeah.
no matter what. You know what I mean? Like that's why conditioning is very important. If you don't have it, I mean, like guys like Diogo, he doesn't have just the separation itself. It's just genetics. You know what I mean? But like if you have a core, it's gonna be there no matter what.
Yeah.
So a lot of guys tend to want to crunch down to make it show more. But on top of that, you're hiding your chest, and your chest is really the focal point of your front shot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because everyone should have abs at that point, right? That's
I,
Yeah.
what's yeah.
Personally, when you said it, when you told me that your feedback was upper chest, I was a bit surprised because I personally think you have one of the most 3D upper shelves there is. I mean, maybe it's like the fullness that you bring to the stage.
I think that was my problem. I couldn't really carb up. I didn't have time to carb up because I had to make weight. That's the thing that sucks about the weight cap. Being at the weight cap.
Yeah, because you can't overweigh yourself. So that's the thing. That's an interesting thing because G's been teaching me about like the types of like peak weeks, and like you can't really do like a reverse load then if you're sitting that close to your weight cap, right?
Yeah, so I mean, right now that's why I usually start prep around 16 to 20 weeks out. One, you hold as much muscle as possible. Two, you're not suffering. A lot of guys want to fucking prep in 12 weeks. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. If you're ready, like I tend to have abs no matter what my weight is. I go up to 230s and I still have abs. Um, but if you're really off and don't have like your off-season shape is not on point, I don't think 12 weeks is ideal just to hold on as much muscle as possible. You know what I mean? And you don't, so I mean, bro, like a lot of like prep is not easy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You go through shit on prep that people are like that they don't know about, and only you know about the shit that goes down on prep until you gotta live it. You know
You
what I
got to
mean?
be in it. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
So
gotta.
that's an interesting point because I think sometimes we don't even know what we're going through. It's like you're trying to figure it out live, right? Like, and every prep is a little bit different. Have you noticed that, or have your preps been
Yeah,
pretty consistent?
completely. No, every prep is completely different.
Besides the near-death experience.
Yeah, no, but I
Yeah,
mean
that's
every
wild,
prep.
bro.
So
I'm
my
glad you're
first
here, man.
prep, yeah, my first prep was 4 weeks. My second prep
That's
was
crazy.
a few months. My third prep was also around 20 weeks out, give or take. And I had a show right after. So Miami was right after my pro debut. So it's like I peaked completely different. I actually peaked pretty well compared to, the show prior because we went to low carbs for at least 5 days. We dropped weight just to make weight, and then we were eating closer to the show. So it's just a matter of, like I said, now it's trying to get to maybe 197 since my cap is 202. So you have, some weight to fluctuate and you're able to carb up. That's the thing, bro. Like, I mean, the weigh-ins are just the day before the show, which doesn't allow an athlete enough time to carb up.
What's that
It's
look like for you though?
my
The
peak
carb
weight,
up.
my carb.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So my optimum, which was my pro debut, was completely different. Like I wasn't able to carb up until after I weighed in, which was 6 p.m. And the show was the next morning at 8, 9 in the morning. So I
That's
started,
zero time to digest your food.
yeah, you don't have time. So dude, I was up at fucking 3 in the morning or starting to carb up, you know what I mean? But it's at that point you're stressing your body out.
Yeah.
So I came back from Miami. I was on 5 low carb days and I started eating probably around Thursday, Friday a little bit more. Friday was the check-ins. I went into the show eating, not a lot of food because I was constantly holding weight. I was like right there. Like I weighed in 201 point like 8 or some shit like that. Like I was like decimals away from not making weight. You know what I mean? Which I mean, a lot of guys didn't make weight this year in the Olympia. I heard a lot of shit, which fucking sucks. But there's
I heard that too. I heard that maybe it's because it was the first time they've had to do it, so they felt like they had to be lenient. Otherwise, they don't have a show, right? It's a business. But like I guess it's the dilemma bodybuilding's facing a lot now is what's good for the business and what's good for the athletes.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's a business. You know what I mean?
But we still have to overcome it in order to make it a stage day. Like what do you do to overcome that?
You have one goal, right? Like you gotta continue to fight each day, face each day as it is, right? Like right now, my goal obviously it's win a pro show to qualify for the Olympia. So whatever I got to do to get there, that's exactly what I'm gonna do, no matter what, right? Like I wanted to quit last prep and I wanted to give up, and my coaches, you need a support team. Like they're the ones that are gonna help you and guide you along the way. Because when you don't believe in yourself, they got you and they're holding you accountable. You know what I mean? Like I think that's very important. You need to have a coach that believes in you and a whole team for sure.
That's something that we preach here, is
Yeah.
that team aspect. And you don't, I mean, I that this is what like my mind blew when I first got into bodybuilding is like you don't see a lot of that. You have a million Instagram coaches, but then once it comes time for them to compete, like sometimes their coach ghosts them or leaves them high and dry, and that could guide people away from bodybuilding. But when you have that legitimate team, that team structure, iron sharpens iron at the end of the day,
At
you
the end
know?
of yeah. That's why you see what's this guy's name? Sebum's old coach, Hani.
Honey.
I
Honey,
Right,
yeah.
really they got a really good team, like why are they at the top? Because they have that team. It's that bodybuilding is such people think that it's a single man sport or a single person sport, but it's not because at the end of the day, like, yeah, we go up on stage ourselves, but behind that, like, you have your coach, you have, maybe the person you're in a relationship with, you have your friends, you have your that circle, that support team. You know what I mean?
don't know. G, when you were coaching last season, I think you were pretty much on stage with them. He was getting real
Yeah.
close.
Try to be as hands-on as possible.
I remember
I
Brandon
think,
too, because Brandon, I saw you. You were like, "Oh, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta get on stage." But yeah, no, like
Yeah, dude,
G is similar to you. He gets really amped, really excited for his athletes.
because like when
yeah.
you're up on stage, like you just you completely let go, right? Like you have your coach there and you just want to feel comfortable. A lot of people get nervous, they get anxious. Maybe it's their first time on stage, maybe not. I mean, a lot of people, even if it's their fifth time on stage, they're still fucking shitting bricks. It just depends on the person. But you just want to feel as most comfortable as possible because I mean, stress, your cortisol levels rise, your physique changes, right? So as the most calm, the more calm you are, one, you're gonna like let's say for instance the females are on heels. Don't you see them shaking all the time? They're tripping up on stage. So it's like you want to be comfortable. You want to be calm and you want to make sure that your coach is talking to you, guiding you, leading you around along the way.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I agree. It's important to have that support system, like you're saying, and uh, a lot of even like people that they try to coach themselves. I never understand that aspect because I'm like, if you're gonna take the time to like do the diet, do the training, and pay for the competition, it's like you might as well have some kind of coach or team guidance around you to bring you to where you're trying to go.
And now that
Because
you say that, it's like you can't coach yourself. I don't care who
yeah,
you can't coach yourself because what I see, it's not what you see, right? And you know how we're always we look in the mirror and we always feel small. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like you need somebody to guide you and tell you you need to do this. You look this way. Let's do this. Obviously you might know your body a little bit more than your coach, but that's why over time you guys work together and you learn the body. You see what works, what doesn't work. But yeah, you definitely need a coach,
Yeah,
no matter who you are.
you can't lone wolf this sport. Like it might work once, twice, but it's not repeatable.
How far are
And
you gonna get that way, you know?
yeah,
Not the highest level. Yeah, not,
and also every peak and every prep is different, like you said. But again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, prep can play tricks in your mind. So, and it's always funny because the one time you actually think you look good, your coach is like, no, not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
keep
That's how
pushing.
it is. That's exactly how it is.
Then
Um,
that really messes with your head. You're like, damn, I thought I saw something. Nope, sit down. Get
and you
back
know
on the
what it
cardio
is too?
machine.
You got all these athletes, right? Let's say it's show day. Even before show day, you know, you're looking at these athletes leading up to a show on social media, and that might throw off your head, right? You're like, oh fuck, this guy looks really good. Like, damn, does he look better than me? How do I look? So then you start getting in your head, right? That's why a lot of people just, especially me now, you know, like I'm 10 and a half weeks out. I try not to look at these guys as much, you know, because I'm focused on myself. I know what I bring to the stage and what I'm going to bring to the stage. You need to concentrate on yourself, right? Because like I said previously, what they look like on pictures and videos might not look like what they're gonna look like on stage. You know, because at the end of the day, you don't know how they're going to peak.
It's hard to relate in a way for us because on the amateur side, you never know who you're going against. I mean, sometimes, but it's a that's an interesting thing, like how pros handle going from the amateur ranks where it's like show up your best, do your best. You get to the IFBB, people are starting to get strategic. They're trying to pick certain shows, and it is a little bit more strategic. So, I mean, have you seen a lot of that? Have that been talked about amongst the pros before about that difference between the amateur ranks and the pros?
So like for instance, on the amateur level, like you don't know who's gonna show up to the show because there's no list. Um, now,
Exactly.
now at the IFBB league, there is a list, but they only release the list a week out, so you don't know who's gonna show up to the show. Like you might have, you know, a guy say, "I'm gonna go to Pittsburgh," or "I'm gonna go to this show," X, Y, and Z, but then a week out, you don't see them on the list, so you don't know.
Well, Dre will let you know a year in advance, though.
Yeah. But yeah, you don't know who's gonna be going to the show in a week out. And a week out, you should be ready. You know what I mean? Like whatever you've done, like the work is done. You're 1 week out from the show. So whoever's showing up is showing up. Like maybe I'm not gonna do Miami, right? And then a week out, I'm like, fuck, I want to do Miami. Like I look ready. I'm gonna jump into the show. So you never know who's gonna be at the show. Um, it's in that aspect, I think is similar to the amateur. It might be a little bit different, you know, because everybody's trying to qualify for the Olympia. So it's being strategic. Like me, everybody tells me like, "Yo, go to a smaller show." But like, look, like last year, for instance, my pro debut, the Optimum was a smaller show. Dude, there was like 9 Olympians at that show. Like trying to
Right.
be strategic, you had 9 Olympians at the show. It's like, fuck, okay, so I mean, what's next, you know? So it just depends on, you know, maybe everybody's trying to qualify for the Olympian. Whatever you're thinking of, they're thinking about it as well.
So, what caused you to pull the plug on last season? You were one of the most talked about rookies, right? You and Sanat were the two guys that were making waves. You decided, hey, I don't want to just show up at Olympia. I want to be competitive at Olympia, which I have a lot of respect for because it takes a lot of discipline to pull yourself out like that. Um, I guess the flip side is potentially you could have another prep or two to like, or another show or two to peak for to figure it out. But what went into your decision making there? What was the feedback you got? I mean, obviously we see what's on social media, but I'm talking more about from like your inner circle.
So Tyler's feedback was, you know, because I asked him after the show at Miami. A pro debut, I didn't ask for feedback. But after Miami, I asked Tyler for feedback, and he was upper chest and some more detail on my back. So at that point, I'm like, you know, I was looking at pictures. Um, I wasn't out of competing yet. You know, I had this conversation with my coach, and you know, it was a very long conversation. But, you know, whatever decision I had, he's like, "Look, I support you no matter what." And at the end of the day, like when I decided that I'm gonna take time off, he said, like, "I think that's the best decision for you." You know, because for me, it's not about getting last call out at the Olympia. Like, who's talked about that? You know, with the last call out, or even last call out. You know, like. play 40, there was what, 50 something athletes.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me personally, I don't even think you're able to, being a judge, how are you able to look at 50 something athletes? I mean, I don't think so. I think
What do you, yeah, what do you think what are they going to do about this? Because there's no real solution, right? I know they've thrown around the idea of only some shows counting for the Olympia, but then that's not great for business and it's going to hurt a lot of the other shows. Um, Potentially we could weight some of the shows more, right? So like you only have to win one Arnold, one Pittsburgh to go,
two
but
shows
an
depending.
optimum, maybe you have to also win Tampa, right? Like you tier the shows like tier one shows, tier two shows,
Yeah.
tier three shows, because I think Bob Chigarillo was talking about it on Jay Cutler's podcast that the classic bikini and physique, they're going to be pushing 80 guys this year.
And now you got fit model to take into account, right?
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's nuts. So, I, have you what would you do if you're running the Olympia?
I mean,
What
I've
would
thought about it. I think that would be the best case scenario, like what you just mentioned. I mean,
tiering? Yeah.
I don't know how else I would go about it. I mean, either keep it how it is right now, or that might be another option.
And
I
then the
mean,
cut round, yeah, like the cut round, if they did it on Thursday, but then if they only bring 15 guys out, I mean, you already have 8 guys that are like automatically qualified, right?
look,
So
if you look good, they're gonna have you up there. You know what I mean? Like if you're making a name for yourself previously, prior to the Olympia, you're gonna be in the call out. You know what I mean? I think that's my opinion.
I just meant like if you're Jeremy Buendia, right, or an Aaron Banks who has the automatic qual, they go into the Olympia, they don't really need a cut round because they can't be cut, right? Or are you saying, hey, if they are guaranteed to go to the Olympia, they're guaranteed to go to the cut round, but they're not guaranteed after the cut round?
What do you mean?
Because like Aaron Banks is qualified for life, right? So does that mean if they do implement a cut round, does that mean that he is
I think
Exempt.
everybody.
exempt from it, or do you think he should still be put through his paces? Like, hey, you're qualified for life, but that you still have to go through the cut round to get to the finals.
I mean, that's privilege. You've won the Olympia. I think that's fair. Just like Jeremy Buendia, I think maybe give him a certain amount of years. Like now they have for IFBB Pro, like if you don't renew your card within a certain amount of time, you get it revoked, right? So I think if let's say for instance Jeremy Buendia didn't compete for X amount of time, I think he would have to go back and qualify. You know what I mean? I think that might be the best way to do it. But I mean, you won the Olympia, so I think that's a privilege that they should have.
Yeah, I mean the Olympia is the highest honor, right? So that's just like,
Yeah.
you're cementing yourself in the
Because
Hall of Fame there.
the big challenge though is that let's say 8 of the 15 have that privilege, that's only 7 spots up for grabs to get in finals. Like that would put a very interesting dynamic on the league, right? Because you have guys that are in it because there's a chance. But
So right
that
now we have who? Ryan Terry, Brandon, Jeremy,
Aaron.
Aaron.
It's just
That's
four.
that's yeah, it's just four. I
uh
mean, that's the majority of first call out right there.
Yeah, that's yeah.
What do you have? Top seven, top eight? Let's say top eight. That's half of first call out. I mean, Jeremy didn't even make first call out. He had second call out. Top, what was he? Eighth, I think he was
Yeah,
eighth,
he was in, yeah, eighth.
like top eight or something like that, which was what, 2 years ago? Because last year he didn't compete. Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's tough, bro. Like obviously, if we have a new winner, like let's say for instance, Ali wins this year, then that's five. Um, it, I don't know, dude. I don't know how we'll go about it. I mean, I'm just glad I'm not in that position to make. You know, it's tough. It's tough because as time goes on, you have new athletes that might win.
Yeah.
But then you have these guys that are also retiring. Like, Jeremy, this might be his last year. Brandon, he's up there. Ryan's up there. They're in the 30s, so they're limited amount of time competing.
Aaron Banks.
Aaron.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I heard on a podcast he's almost 40.
Yeah, I think so. He's like 38 or
Aaron?
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Aaron's like
Yeah.
30, 38, 39.
Yeah.
Um,
Almost 39.
Brandon's what, like 30, like mid 30s around there?
Mid 30s, yeah.
But this
And
is why they made masters, right? I imagine like this is like for these moments for these, you know,
yeah, but it's not the same.
it's not
Okay,
the
so
same.
Yeah, it's not the same.
they got to figure Masters out too, because I have to say, I've competed, I've worked security at events, and I've been a fan. And when I am a fan, I'm just looking at the show subjectively. It's like I feel like 80% of the show is just Masters. And it's not that these people shouldn't be given their day or their chance, but I do think they should perhaps put Masters on their own day, right? They have the people that want to go watch them, support them. Maybe someone's there for the weekend. All right, I'll go see Masters as well. But like, if I'm being real, I'm coming. I want to see people my age. I want to see the peak athletes at their peak. It's great that the 60-year-old, 7-year-old's getting on stage, but it is eating up time. And then you have these guys that are getting their pro cards at like 10 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
and and
Yeah.
it's like, as a fan, it's they gotta figure that out, because it's people asking like, oh, what time are they gonna go on, or this or that. Like, no one knows. I mean, I know when we were in Universe for G, it was an absolute zoo. We're literally paying for the stream just to watch where they're at. And and I was working the Caribbean show, and there were girls that literally couldn't even make it on stage. One girl literally on wellness missed her call time because they were like 3 hours behind.
Well, that
Yeah.
happened with nationals too. I had a few posing clients over at the Texas Nationals this year, and the guy was asking me, questions on what to do and about posing. And dude, I think he ended up coming out like it was fuck, like 4 or 5 o'clock
That's
when
wild.
the show starts at 8 in the morning. Like that's fucked up. You're just there. But that's why you gotta be prepared. Like at the end of the day, you don't know what's gonna happen. You gotta take your meals. You gotta be fully prepared because you don't know what's gonna happen.
Why can't they have someone that sits, they have people for everything. They have expediters, right? They should have an app, someone on the app, and it's almost like when you get a ticket at the DMV or something, right? Like you see a live tracker, maybe not DMV, that's not a good example, but
No,
you know
DMV
what I'm
isn't
talking?
that great. Yeah.
You're talking
Yeah,
about
I get
like
what
you
you mean.
you get a ticket right in line, you wait till it's your turn. They can have a live update. Like, okay, here's where we're at in men's physique. Here's the approximate time for the next throw. And it's like a live kind of update. It wouldn't be that hard. They have the money to spend to build the app. It's not that expensive. They could easily get someone to work it. I
Damn,
just
Alex, why don't you make this app, bro?
I should make the app. I mean,
Yeah, you're giving
Uh,
out free game here, man. This is
Coming soon.
But
coming
cutting
dude,
that
soon.
out.
for my nationals, I actually almost missed coming out. Well, you know how first they initially call everybody out, right?
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
say per class, they'll call them out and everybody shows up. They don't move anybody. They just bring everybody out first and then you go back. I didn't come out. Like I missed that completely. So the fact
Is that
that
like comparisons?
no, before
Is that the
comparison,
comparison?
I
Okay.
don't,
Okay.
at nationals, I don't remember if they do that at a regular show, like regional shows. But as like
Okay.
a national show, they'll bring everybody out. They'll look at everybody. I think they still do that at regional shows too. They bring out the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
class,
yeah. And that's like a comparison. Like I thought
but
at
they don't
first.
move them around.
No, no,
Yeah.
they just look at you and then they bring you back up like for the call outs.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly. So I didn't come out because I completely missed it. I don't know what I was doing. I missed
Okay.
that. They came out, and then the only time I came out was for individuals. And then from individuals, I guess, they liked me and then they picked me out for first call out. But it was just, like God willing, it was his plan because I fucking missed it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Who won the overall of that show?
Fuck, what's his name? Some guy named AJ. Let me look him up. See if you can find him on IG. AJ. Let me see. AJ Sigari. AJSIG. He was getting ready too. He was on prep this year, and I'm not sure what happened.
Life.
And then he just went MIA, bro. Like no post, no nothing. And I was like, fuck. I mean,
So he hasn't stepped pro on the pro stage yet.
he has not stepped on the stage.
He has a nice physique too.
He's got some crazy shape.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick because I didn't get the overall or get first place, but I mean, he couldn't hold his gut, which sucks. You know, I mean, how do you reward that? Um, his chest was fucking nasty, bro. Like I saw him and I was like, fuck. His shape is really nice as well. But that's what I'm saying. Like you see him in pictures, and I remember on show day, it's not what he looked like, you know. So I don't. It gets to a point like when you do this for so long. Well, I mean, I've only been doing it for a short period of time, but you know, when you see so many athletes on stage compared to pictures, you're like, okay, like this guy doesn't faze me because you know that at the end of the day, how you show up on show day is what's gonna matter. So
But
like,
that's still an interesting, frame of mind though. I mean, you're allowed to think like that too, because you're competing at the highest level of, bodybuilding right now, which is the pro league. But, like for me, for instance, I remember UGP, I saw my coach, I saw his little promo he did for Redcon, and I'm like, oh shit, here I lost, you know. But, like you said, after of doing a couple of shows, you had to get that mentality in you that it's you versus you at the end of the day, and whoever shows up, then you don't have no control of that.
I mean, you don't. At the end of the day, the judges are the ones judging you. You
Yeah,
know, they like a certain guy over you, and you might look better. I mean, it happens all the time. Maybe some guy's back looks better. Maybe overall your package looks better, but you're not the judge, and you don't see what they see. So, and sometimes you know it is political, but that's why you just got to show up at the end of the day, your best version, and you know try and beat your previous package, and that's all that matters, you know. Just stay focused, stay in your lane. You know, I get this question asked all the time, like, how do you not get diverse from your track? And it's like because at the end of the day, like I have my goal. And my goal is, yeah, qualify for the Olympia, win a pro show, but it's like I'm also trying to beat my previous package. Like that should be your main goal. And then from there, it's like, you know, how do you look at so I look at my picture and I dissect my picture every fucking week. It's like, what can I do to get better? What do I need to improve? And then from there, it's like, you know, I use my feedback and then I dissect my picture. And from there, that's where I'm working towards.
so you have to be like really all in the sport, which I guess will lead to I had a question here, is outside of your circle, outside of your team, how does bodybuilding affect your social life and relationships?
It does a lot. Yeah, I mean, this is a lonely sport when it comes to, you know, like you got to be all in. You know, you can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out. You know, you have your meals. Like, let's say, for instance, somebody invites you to go to a party, go to dinner. It's like, no, you have your meals. Like the other day, you got to have families also that understand. You know, I'm Cuban. I mean, I'm born and raised here in Miami, but my background is Hispanic. You know how Hispanic. I don't know where you guys are from, but like Hispanics are always like you know cooking food.
Yeah.
They're all eating random fucking shit. You know,
Bro,
like
you
Arroz con
don't,
pollo,
bro,
plátano
oh,
maduro.
yeah,
bro,
everything.
you
So
don't have
it's
to,
you know
you don't have to be Hispanic to know that they cook up a storm.
Yeah.
yeah. So it's you know at the end of the day, right? Like at first, and even to this day, you know, I still have my grandpa and my uncle. You know, they ask me, "Oh, why are you not gonna eat?" You know, but it's they'll ask me maybe twice, like as in before they would ask me every 5 seconds. You know, and it gets to a
It's not
point.
malice though. It's out of love because,
It is, you know,
yeah,
but it gets to a point that it's frustrating because you're focused on your goal, and it's like you don't have to eat the food to have fun. You know, like you're there. The company is really what matters. Like I'm okay. It's my choice to come with my meal and eat with you guys. Like the other day, it was, you know, my whole family went out and I went with them and I took my meal. It's, I don't have a problem with it, but you
yeah.
gotta be okay with that. You know what I mean?
That that happens a lot where athletes will, it's actually the athlete doesn't have a problem with the situation. It's everyone else has the problem with the situation. It's like, I know there was a bit of an adjustment period for my family. At first, it's like, why would you want to do this kind of thing? You know, that doesn't seem like fun. Um, but now they kind of get it, and you know, they'll even ask me like, "Hey, is this okay for you right now?" And you know, they try to include me. I'm like, "Hey, but I don't want to be bothered, right? Like, you don't need to put extra effort in it for me. If I can't have something you're having, I'll cook something else my own." So, I find a lot of athletes are fine with. We know that it's different for other people. We make that effort, so they don't have to make that effort, and it almost makes us more stressed out when they try to like make it a thing.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
you want to get them to understand where you're coming from, but then again, it comes back to the mentality. not everyone's gonna have that mentality of, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do to win. You know, people just see life from their like, point of view.
Like I tell a lot of people, right? There's my first, let me see, what was it? I was going into nationals. I didn't tell my coach, obviously. And dude, I was feeding a burger so fucking bad. I was probably around maybe 12 weeks out, something like that. Which was no biggie. But it's like, if it doesn't make a difference, why do it? In the sense of, if you're gonna have a burger and it's not gonna hurt you, why are you still gonna do it? If it's not gonna hurt you, like, what's the point of doing it? To
That's like
make
sinning, right? A sin is a sin, right? People sin.
what are you gonna satisfy your cravings and then
Yeah.
what? It's like you're gonna eat that burger and then you're gonna be like, fuck, like now I tried it and I want another burger. It's because I still have my cheat meals. I go ham on the fucking weekends, on my cheat day. For last weekend I had pizza, ice cream, I still went ham. But that's another thing why having a long prep, 16 weeks, 20 weeks out, and staying relatively ready, you're able to cruise into prep. You can still have your cheat meals, you can still have refeed days. You're not suffering. It's not like you're, 10-week prep, 12-week prep. You gotta fucking slim down. You're starving yourself, and then that's when it really starts to get tough
Well,
mentally.
when I met you, I was 210, and now G's brought me down to 195, 194. So to that point, I remember we spoke about this, and I was telling you what I was eating, and you were just like, that's not sustainable. That's insane. I mean, I need to put on the size, but to your point, I know that G's goal is to bring me at closer to stage weight, um, for a longer prep. And I think I don't know what started the idea of a 12-week prep, like why it has to be 12 weeks, but I feel like it's thrown around a lot. But it has started to shift a little bit. You don't see guys only talking about 12-week preps anymore.
Yeah, I mean, some guys do. Like Brandon Henderson. He stays fucking lean all year round,
Year
right?
round.
All year round. Like for me, I go up. My stage weight is 202. I go up to 230s. I mean, I can continue to go up very easily, but my coach is like, you can't because we gotta make weight. So I'm roughly around 30 to 30 pounds, 30 to 35 pounds of stage weight in my off season, but I'm still in shape. You know what I mean? As easy as I can drop, I can go up weight. So for me, it's no big deal. Um, but some guys can't do that. They don't have that luxury, right? Like some guys go up 30 pounds and they look like whales. You know what I mean? Like they don't have abs. They don't have any vascularity. So as long as you're maintaining a good shape, and at the end of the day, it's men's physique, bro. It's not about who's the biggest guy on stage.
Yeah.
A lot of guys get that confused and they're like, okay, I want to get bigger. I need to get bigger. But it's not like I've stood next to Brandon Henderson. He's not a very big
He's
guy.
not that big. Yeah.
He's not that.
A lot of these guys, not even Ryan Terry.
I took a picture with Ryan Terry. If you want, you
Bro,
can put a picture on my profile.
uh,
Like he's not that big. I
dude,
mean,
you looked like you ate Ryan Terry.
and we're at the same weight cap. Like his weight cap is 202 and I'm at 202. So it's not about who's the biggest guy on stage,
Yeah.
competing.
Wait,
Um,
was it on your Instagram? Yeah.
yeah, it's on my Instagram. I posted it like right there. You know what I mean? Like he's 202, his weight cap is 202, I'm 202. So it's not about who's the biggest guy. So that's also another thing, right? Like I always thought that I had to get bigger. But now, I see these top guys, Brandon, Ryan. I've never seen Ali. He's not, you can tell he's not one of the biggest guys either in comparison to all these other athletes. It's not like I'm okay with slimming down now. Before it was like, fuck, man. Like you look at yourself in the mirror and it's like, damn, I'm flat.
Dude,
Damn, I'm
trust me,
getting small.
size is not one of your problems.
Yeah, but it's like, it's a mental aspect. It's a mental thing,
Yeah.
right? You look at yourself and you see the number on the scale going down. You're like, damn, I used to be 20 pounds heavier. Now I'm not. You see yourself leading up to a show. You're 20 pounds lighter. You look flat and you feel like you look like shit. But then you look at these other guys, and then you step on stage and it's not what you look like compared to when you look at yourself in the mirror, right?
So what would you say has been the biggest improvement you've made this off season?
Um, I mean, it's men's physique, right? So I've really focused on my chest. That's really been my main factor, and then obviously my back. I've been trying to get my back as wide as possible.
You
Like,
could definitely see the upper chest. I mean, the line is clearly there.
yeah, I mean, I
It's
didn't even.
Since you're so since you're so close to the weight cap, what have you been doing as far as because you said you're not training legs anymore?
No, I'm still training legs. I train them twice, just not as crazy as I used to.
So what does your training look like though, like compared because I mean you're not going to be gaining weight, I guess, because of the food that you're eating. You're trying to stay at around 230, 235. But
So,
what does that training look like in like your supplements as far as you trying to stay down and not grow anymore?
food. I mean, the trainings. Obviously, you go in there ready for war. Like you go in there and try to execute everything, no matter what it is. You know what I mean? So. As far
Yeah.
as workouts, it's the way I work out, it's still the same, drop sets, supersets, heavy days, more repetitions. That's all the same. The only thing that's different is just the food. I'm not pushing as much food as I was before. It
You
just depends.
mentioned you mentioned about recovery. How does your recovery look like in a week?
My recovery is shit. Like I don't sleep. Still trying to figure that out. I don't know what it is, but I take 2 rest days. So my split, I'll tell you my split too right now. Um, and I'm still hitting everything 2 times except shoulders, and I still have 2 recovery days. People are like, "Oh, what the fuck?" So on Mondays I hit back, which is a high carb day. So right now I started carb cycling, right? So obviously men's physique, back is our main priority. So that's my high carb day, which is Mondays. Tuesdays I do chest. I'll drop it down to medium carbs. Wednesdays I'll do quads, which is medium carbs. Thursday I'll take rest, and it's low carbs. Low carb sucks because it's fucking 3 meals without carbs. Being 12 weeks out, so it's like, damn, I'm kind of hungry. Fridays I do shoulders and I'll touch up my chest, which is medium carbs, and then Saturday I'll do some hamstrings and touch up my back. So every time I'm doing back, I hit a high carb day, and then Sundays will be a rest, which is a low carb day. So I'm hitting everything pretty much 2 times, and
do
I'm
you
big on carb cycling. So I think the shape of your muscle bellies depends on genetics, right? Like you see guys, like Derek Lunsford, he's very round. Um, let's say for conditioning wise, you have Derek and Hottie. Like you can see that conditioning day and night, right? Like at the end of the day, it all comes down to genetics on how lean you can get and the way your muscle bellies are shaped. Like it doesn't matter how much muscle you can add, just the separation, the insertions. They're all everybody's different. Like you see there's not really such thing as high lat insertions, but like Ricardo Sanat, right? Like his lats are just he's very wide, but like they're high, and some other guys just have a lower V taper.
V-taper,
So
yeah.
it's just a matter of your insertions on your physique. Like I don't think there's nothing you can do about that. It's just the way it is. Um, but I mean training, dude, like training, I think it's a big priority and your meals. As long as you're taking care of that and putting that first, I think the rest falls in place. But nutrition and obviously recovery, like recovery is really big, but food is everything. Nutrition is by far everything, bro. In my opinion, maybe somebody else might say otherwise, but in my opinion, I think nutrition is a big thing.
if you could meet yourself as an amateur, what would be one piece of advice you
Two
would give
years ago.
yourself? Yeah, not that
Uh,
long ago. Like it could be something maybe something you've learned like along the way that just don't do or something that you should do. Something maybe you've learned from someone else.
Have fun with it, bro. Because at the end of the day, like you miss out on a lot of shit being a bodybuilder, right? You miss out on like, how we previously spoke about, like on dinners when people invite you to places, if you can balance and manage those things, right? Like, take your meals. I'm not saying go out to a party and go have drinks and get fucked up. I mean, at the end of the day, like we still have to take care of our health. And if we're on prep, you still have to show up and prioritize yourself. But if you can manage and balance all those things, I mean, have fun with it, bro. It's not a lot of people on prep, you I'm not gonna blame trend. I've never done trend, but a lot of guys on trend, they change completely. Like certain people get into bodybuilding expecting that it's gonna be fun, this and that, but it completely changes them. They turn into a fucking asshole. It's like have fun with it, bro. It's a hobby. It's not a job. Like we're not out here getting paid millions of dollars at a show. You know what I mean? Like you're doing this because you want to.
Yeah.
Nobody's forcing you to do this. So don't be a complete asshole to other people because you got to show everybody has the same goal. Everybody's trying to get in shape. Everybody's trying to get their meals in. Everybody's trying to get on stage at their best, looking the best. So it's like, why you got to be an asshole? That's
I've
just my
noticed I've noticed that you really do stay out of
the
the
drama. Yeah,
drama. I
I
mean,
get
we've spoken about this before, and to be honest, do you think that it's hindered you from maybe like growing your following faster because you're not playing bait to or going for the bait when someone puts it out there or because you do see guys that they'll get into it on Instagram stories, all of a sudden they start to gain more followers, right? Like they say like no publicity is bad publicity, but at the end of the
uh,
day, you're staying true to yourself. So do you think that's part of it, or
it can be. I don't think about it that way because at the end of the day, like I know bodybuilding is not something that you're not going to be a competitor, an athlete for the rest of your life, right? There's just a certain amount of years that you're going to be able to do this. Obviously, let's say you start in, your late 30s, like you're limited, right? Even if you're in your 20s, Sebum, I mean, he's been competing. It depends how early you start, but like you're not going to be competing for the rest of your life. So at some point, you're not going to be that guy anymore. So there's something else that you got to figure out. Like bodybuilding for me isn't everything. I do it because I fucking love it. The people that you meet, everything that you encounter along the way, the journey, who you become as a person, you learn so much about yourself along the way. But I do it because I love it. So it's not like I try and stay out of the drama because it's just not who I am. So as long as I'm focused on my goals outside of bodybuilding. Like this is just for me, it's a plus. Like I do it because I love it. Even if you're a coach, right? Like you don't have to get yourself involved into drama to grow. Like Cuts, for instance, he's got a shit ton of athletes. I mean, I've never really seen him into drama. And he's probably one of the best coaches out here, with a shit ton of athletes. So you don't have to necessarily be in the drama to get publicity and blow up on Instagram. I mean, if they
I feel like the people that bring the drama though have a lot of unresolved traumas that they need to deal with, that they hyper focus on someone else and become that bully, and then you can blame whatever steroid you're on for the side effects or whatever. But if you're an asshole, you're just an asshole.
you're just an asshole no matter what. Yeah, you can
Yeah.
blame saying like you're drunk, so you did so and so, right? Have a decision.
I
You got
gotta
to
go
be
listen to
accountable.
I gotta go listen to some Drake now because of that, man.
Yeah, but it's true though. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I've met a shit ton of people on trend, and they're fucking like like they're not even on trend.
Yeah.
So don't come out here and blame certain things for your actions. Like it's who you are as a person. It's like saying money, right? Like one day you're not rich and then another day you're rich. Money brings out your true character.
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
I'm
think
very
it's
hard on believing that the drugs don't change you. They just
they
heighten who
can.
you are. They change you, but it's more so if you have character traits that are negative or you
It
have things that
amplifies it. Yeah, it amplifies.
Yeah, exactly.
it amplifies tremendously. I've seen it happen quite drastically, like in the course of within a month or two, someone has completely changed. And then you start to think like, are they really changing or are they just really showing me who they really are?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and at the end of the day, right? Like there's certain drugs, like NPP, is very known for causing people to be a little bit more emotional than others, right? Like I've ran MPP before. This last off season, I ran it through 17 weeks, which was very long. And dude, for me, it was an excessive amount of weeks. Like I started getting fucking depressed. So it does play a role, but if you're a fucking complete asshole, like you're gonna have your days. Some days you might treat somebody, maybe, you woke up in a bad mood or something. But if it's consistently, that you're acting this way, I mean, you can't blame the drugs.
Yeah,
I don't care who you are. I don't think you can blame the drug. It's just who you are.
I respect that.
It's kind of like alcohol too, right? Like if you are an alcoholic and you're an aggressive or just a nasty alcoholic, when you're next sober, when you are sober, you have the opportunity to make changes so that you're not putting yourself or the people around you in those positions again. So if you're a bodybuilder that you're taking substances that you feel are hurting you and therefore hurting the people around you, you still have the opportunity to get off and make changes. But
Yeah,
people
don't take it. You don't have to
then don't
take it.
take it. Like you're not always in that moment and you're not always going to be on your cycle. There's times when people come off their cycle and they choose to go back on full knowing full well the monster that's gonna, come out of it.
Yeah, most definitely. Like if you're not, like I said, bodybuilding is always going to be a choice, right? Like you're not, nobody's forcing you to compete. Nobody's forcing you to take all these drugs. Let's say you have a coach and he's telling you to do something. At the end of the day, like he's telling you and recommending you what to take, but he's not forcing you like, yo, you got to take this. You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's a
There's some coaches that are like that though.
that's not a real coach.
Yeah,
That's a good
yeah.
coach.
I, I,
Like
I guess this would be for like, people who are, aspiring to get into bodybuilding and, hey, just ask questions. Just because your coach recommends you something, you could ask them why. If they don't answer that question why, then you should look for a different coach.
Yeah, exactly. So like me, my coach and I, we've had these conversations multiple times. Like right now, I just told them, like, yo, like I don't want to take, I hopped off GH, because of these issues. He's like, listen, if you're not cool with taking GH and if you're comfortable with that, that's fine by me. Like every time he tells me to take something, I'm like, why do I need to take it? And what is it? So he gives me a whole ass explanation on what it is, what is it for, what does it do? So I'm comfortable with that. If I don't want to take something, we'll find an alternative route. It's not, you got to take this shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't take trend. So now we got to find something else to supplement that same look, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. But this is where knowledge comes in, and this is where I gotta commend, Michael G. He has a bunch of natural athletes. If you could prep someone through a prep naturally, then I'm, you know, just whatever you add on to that, like, yourself transitioning from amateur to, pro, it's only gonna add that much more benefit to you. You don't need to do a lot of drugs to get
So
that look.
it's tough being, so I think being a natural competitor, I want to say it's easier just because you don't have so many variables that come into play, right? Like you have just more nutrition and cardio to handle and
Yeah,
manage, right? Once you start getting into anabolics, it's a little bit tough because you don't know how a person's gonna react to it, right? Like I said, same thing that happened to me, previously. Um, Not everybody, some people hold more water than others.
yeah,
So at the end of the day, like you just really don't know. When it comes down to just being a natural athlete, like you just have nutrition and cardio. I mean, there's really,
yeah.
obviously you still gotta
I get it.
learn
I
how
get
to
that.
peak somebody as far as carbs and the nutrition, but it's just nutrition and cardio.
Yeah, and the only way that you find out like when you're enhanced is just by trial and error and doing it yourself through and experiences. No matter even like the coach gives you the plan or your friend is helping you, you have to go through those
Yeah.
experiences and like whether it's good or bad you'll learn and then that's going to take you to the next step and you'll know okay this is what I don't do next time because I'm going to have this reaction and
Yeah.
I think it's important to learn your body
Get
before
your
you
labs,
start
bro.
doing so many things.
That's
Get your
what
lab work.
Get your lab work. That's one thing I
Yeah.
definitely tell everybody. So it's like if you're coming from a natural athlete to an enhanced athlete, right? Or no matter what, right? Like get your labs every few months. Make sure you're donating blood. Like this shit is not safe and healthy. So as long as you can continue to do your lab works routinely, every 3 to 4 months. If you want to do them, every 2 months, great. But if you can do them every 3 to 4 months, if you're donating blood every 3 to 4 months, you're on top of your health, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, because let's say, for instance, I take 200 milligrams of test maybe you might take 300 and it might be equivalent. But it's like you don't know how, like let's say 200 for me might boost my test to 1500, but for you 100 milligrams might be in the same range. So you don't know that until you get your labs done. So you can't tell somebody to take 300, 400, 500 milligrams of certain compound and say it's gonna react the same. You got to get your labs done to know where your levels are at. And then that way you're
Men lie, women lie, but numbers don't lie.
numbers don't lie, bro. Like at the end of the day, like that's how you optimize your body to work at its best, at its peak.
But
I
still, even with the labs, bro, I it sucks because you don't know what's gonna happen, and just like from your own experience with the grapeseed oil,
Hmm.
it's like you could have done any lab work, the blood test, and it wouldn't have shown anything because you're just getting a lipid panel.
yeah, yeah.
So it's, those are just things you have to kind of go through along the way. And just the same thing with foods, like certain foods digest better for you, bloat you, etc. And it's really finding what works best for that individual. So
Yeah, you learn
comes
yourself.
with time.
That's what it is. Like that's why I like bodybuilding so much, right? Like you learn yourself and you just become a complete different person overall. Because like I don't think there's anything else in life that you're gonna get to learn yourself more than inside bodybuilding. I think this sport teaches you so much about yourself as an individual, the way you handle certain things, the way, sometimes you might feel lonely, how you handle that. You might get depressed because I mean, you get all these emotions and feelings throughout a prep, even in an off season. Because at the end of the day, like you don't know, like what happens to me might not happen to you and vice versa. So I could tell you like, yo, on prep, you're gonna, it's not the same saying you're gonna be hungry on prep. Everybody's gonna fucking be hungry on prep. But I can't tell you, oh, it's gonna go smooth, so you might not get depressed along the way. Because I didn't get the depressed along the way. Like shit happens, bro. You know what I mean? Like maybe you being hungry might have you to react a certain way, and you have this relationship, a bad relationship with food at that point.
Yeah.
So it
Right.
just teaches you a lot about yourself.
I don't know about you guys, but I just love doing shit that most people can't do. Like, and when you have that mindset and you go into a prep where shit hits the fan, it gets tough, you're lonely, your body's eating itself pretty much. But then you think to yourself, well, how many people can actually get to this point? And people that give you the praise after, right? Oh, you look great, you know, so much discipline, but they just don't know. And I think maybe that's why people bond so well together in bodybuilding, right? Because we can actually understand it. And when I see Chris going through it or G or you going through it, like I've been there, so I can relate to you.
Yeah.
But it is a very small select number of people that can really go. And anyone could say they're going to do a bodybuilding show. I'm talking about the people that actually take it seriously, right?
Yep.
Not the
Yep.
people
And
that
compete.
are doing it for likes or whatever, or just to say they're doing a prep. Like the people that actually go through it time and time again, season. Um, I don't know. I mean, what do you say to yourself, right? Like Brandon, like when prep gets hard, what are some of the things that go through your mind that keeps you afloat, that keeps you moving forward?
The self-talk, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you just remind yourself that you have a choice. Like you're not forced to do this. Um, you remind yourself you're a certain amount of weeks out from a show. Nobody's forcing you to do this. You have a support system right behind you, pushing you along the way. Um, how are you gonna feel the day of the show? Like these are questions you ask yourself and things you tell yourself just to keep you motivated. Because at the end of the day, like we do this because we have a passion to work out, to look a certain way. So like and you tell yourself this is only temporary. I think that's a big thing that people think it's like, yeah, you're on prep and you don't think that, oh, it's only 12 weeks, 6 weeks out. You tell yourself, oh fuck, I'm on prep, and you don't see the distance. So you feel like it's gonna be a very long prep. So when you start telling yourself like this is only temporary, I think that helps that mental aspect of keeping you locked in.
That's interesting for real because it's like you don't look at it like a marathon, you look at it like a race at that point.
Yeah.
Even though Bodybuilding is a marathon. When you're taking it show by show, it's broken down into increments as opposed to like, damn, I got to do this for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, the preps 16 weeks out. You're not really starving until after 8 weeks out. I mean, shit, I hope not. If you're starving at 12 weeks out, motherfucker, you did your off season completely wrong. You know what I mean? You were binging
or
on
or or
everything that,
also or also bad
Yeah.
coaching. There's some coaches that will feed you. Though I've seen coaches put people on 900 calories and 16 weeks out, and that's just bad coaching.
yeah. I mean, that's what another thing why I'm really big on carb cycling. But it just works. Like I do that with all my clients. Carb cycling, even myself, I'm doing 12, at 12 weeks out, I start carb cycling. It fucking works miracles. You have high days, medium days, low days. You're not starving yourself. And at the end of the day, it does speed up your metabolism. There's
So I've
days.
never done that before, and I mean I've definitely done maybe like a high day or a refeed day, but in the past when I worked with coaches, it was always a very steady throughout. So I'm interested to
that,
see perhaps G might have that me do that this season. We'll
G
see.
does do
Yeah.
that.
I mean, me and
I'll let
Chris
him
did
talk
that. Yeah.
about I'll let him
Yeah.
talk about that. But I've been with coaches that are 100% against writing multiple diets because it's hard for them to like keep track. Oh, okay, this is a high day. No,
that's being
that's
lazy.
that's
Like
being lazy.
why are
Thank
you
you.
Lazy.
why are you gonna be a coach if you're not gonna, get your client to look as best as possible on stage? Like, because you got to do a little bit more work. I mean, don't fucking coach.
So Brandon, what is your coaching style like? How do you communicate with your clients? How do you go about, um, from maybe figuring out if you want to work with them through their off season and what their plans are? How do you manage expectations? Like what, talk to us a bit about your process on the coaching side.
I mean, we'll get on a call. We'll talk about goals, plans, what they're currently doing, their challenges currently, um, and then from there, I don't turn down people, like if I see that you're serious, then I'll work with you. And even if you're not serious, I don't know if you're not serious until we start working. If you're not serious, I mean, I pour everything into my clients, right? Like if you can hit me up any time of the day and I'll answer. I do like weekly check-ins, I'll adjust their meal. Obviously if they're making progress, losing a certain amount of weight during every week, there's really no need to change the plan, right? But if they're not making progress, there needs to be changes. But it's like on a week to week basis, like I'm making changes if
Do you
needed.
get on calls with them or is this all through text?
We text about it. If they want to get on a call, we can get on a call. You know what I mean? Like I'm not opposed to it. But I mean, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, if you want to get on a call, get on a call. I'm open 24/7 for you to reach out. If you have any questions, doubts, or concerns on me, I'm
Because
happy to.
there are coaches out there that it's just they'll text you, when around the time you have your check-in. Maybe they'll get to a question here and there via text, but they're not available. And I think you see a lot with the pros, because
Yeah.
they're busy, and that kind of starts the question of should you really be coaching as a pro? But there are people like you that will spend that extra time to make sure an athlete's taken care of. So, I, I mean, what is your thought on that? Like, do you think it's acceptable for a coach to maybe only get on a call like every 4 months with someone that's paying them that much money monthly? Or
So I had a client one time, right? I didn't respond within a matter of like, I responded, but I didn't send them a plan within, his revised plan in a matter of 6 hours. The guy dropped me. It's like, my dude, it's like, hasn't even been a full 24 hours. If you can't wait a whole 24 hours, so it depends on what your check-in day is, right? Like if your check-in days for certain clients are on Sundays, I give guys, I'll try and get back to them by that day, but I'll give you a plan for an extra day just in case I don't get back to you, right? Like 24 to 48 hours. So if don't expect me to if I don't really do, we got shit to do. We're on our phone, but it's not like let's say coaching is your job. You're not gonna update a plan in the middle of the day if you're out fucking doing so and so what, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
you're
it's
busy.
yeah, that's
no,
why you're
I think I meant more like if a person has questions about, whether it's health related or how they're adjusting to the adjustments, right? Like how they're feeling based on the food. Um, and they're saying like, hey, like, can we talk about this? That's a little different. I mean, if they can't wait for a plan to be made up in a few hours, then that's just, I
Yeah.
mean, grow
So
up. But uh,
every check-in day, I do send a questionnaire asking certain questions on how you're feeling, how your appetite, your workouts, your sleep, all that stuff. And then when they get back to me, like right now, during this call, I had one of my clients call me. I didn't answer, but like they can call me, they can text me, and I'll get back to them whenever I can. Mainly I usually get back to them right away. Because it's like if you have your coach and you send your check-ins, like you want your shit before you even send it. That's just the way it is. Like you
yeah,
send your plan and it's like you're looking at your phone and talking to your coach. It's like, fuck, like I want my plan to know exactly. I'm a big person that I like to know what's coming or what's ahead. Like I don't like to be in thin air.
Yeah.
So, like when I worked with Coach Neil Yoda, he would send me a plan. So check-ins for me were on Sundays, and he would send me a plan all the way through Tuesday just in case he didn't get back to me by Sunday or Monday.
Mhm.
So I knew exactly what to do. So I kind of learned that and used it towards my coaching just in case. But I mean, it doesn't happen. It's rare. It's maybe happened a handful of times, but it's like you know exactly what you're doing, whether I get back to you or not.
I mean, I've seen so many coaches fumble literally it's show day, and they're just not responding to their athletes. I've seen this with girls. I've seen this with guys. I've seen this multiple times, and it's crazy to me, and I just can't understand it. Chris, I know you've had experiences with this too. Um, but I remember I was at one of my friends' shows in up in Tampa. She was doing bikini and uh show day. And one of the people that she had been speaking with throughout prep just gave back to her. So um, I think it's commendable that you care about your clients that way, and I think you should hold on to it because that's going to set you apart. It might seem simple to you because you're a genuine person, but that's what's going to separate like the coaches that go a long way in the sport.
Yeah, I think the sport definitely needs a lot more people like that. Because there's a lot of coaches that, like you mentioned in show day, they'll just fucking either disappear. I knew I didn't know the girl personally, but I heard at one of the shows this year. Look, at the end of the day, you're replaceable. Everybody's replaceable. There's a shit ton of coaches out here. So if you're not connecting with a client, if you're not bringing them in at your best, um, at the best point that they can possibly, you're gonna get replaced. So it's like, why would you not show up for your client? Is that they're gonna be happy with results. So as long as you're bringing them results, they're gonna come.
They keep coming back.
I think what happens is a lot of these coaches that they once they get to a certain point of notoriety, it is so easy for them to get a new client and replace a client that leaves them that uh, they just become devalued,
Or
right?
you get treated like a number
You know,
at the end
like
of the
if
day.
if a coach starts to blow up on social and they have hundreds of athletes and one of them is being needy or they have a lot of questions and they're just not up for it, unfortunately, it is human nature to devalue in that situation, but at the same time, I think that's where it comes down to making sure you constantly remind yourself who you are. From when you start off coaching, you don't have that many people to like G right now doesn't have a ton of athletes, but it's starting to grow. Like this season is going to be his biggest season. And I'm one of his close friends, so I'm always going to call him out on it. But like Chris and I will be here to keep him grounded. Like, hey, G, just remember how you were when you had, five of us, because one day you're going to have 50 and you're going to have 500.
Let's say, for instance, if you can,
Urgent, yeah.
something with the nutrition or
Yeah.
some shit,
Your
anything.
great the grapeseed oil thing is the perfect
Yeah.
example.
I mean,
Like
Brandon, I told you what my last coach with that was the first. I've never pushed 6,000 calories in a day.
Dude, that's
I mean
fucking.
that, and
I would
look,
shoot myself straight up.
Naturally.
I'll shoot myself, bro, in a heartbeat.
but here's where the gaslighting happens, right? Like here I am gutting it out, and Chris and G will tell you I didn't skip a single meal. I didn't skip. If I had to stay up late eating, I was gonna do it. But then the gaslighting comes in of, well, no, that's what's expected of you. oh, like it's supposed to suck. If you're complaining now, just wait till prep. And it's like I think there's a difference between complaining and being communicative, right? Like if I'm the kind of athlete that wants my coach to know exactly how I'm feeling so he can almost be in my body and he can coach me the best. So if everything I start to say is taken as a complaint, that just ruins the relationship right there because then I'm
That
not
that
going to be
shuts
able to
down
be
your
honest.
communication. Yeah,
I'm not going to
that
be able to
shuts
be
you down.
honest, and that's where I think this sport is very dangerous. And unlike other sports, like whether you're a soccer coach or whatever, this is someone's personal life. Like this is your body. Your body is your instrument, right? Like it is your tool in this sport. So I think coaches need to be a little bit more receptive to athletes and understand the difference between complaining and communicating.
Yeah, I think a big thing that certain coaches need to learn is building a relationship with your client. Like, every coach and athlete are gonna have different relationships, but I think they all need to have some sort of relationship going on because it's just the way that people function best. At least that's how I operate with my clients. Like, they'll ask me whatever they want or whatever, it's like the other day, I also use it as mindset. Like one of my clients the other day, their grandma passed. So I was there, like mentor them and keep their mindset up. Like these are things that I think clients look for in a coach, just to have an overall picture of not just I can write a nutrition plan. At least in my eyes. I think like
But that's
that's
where the support ideology comes from, right? If they feel like you support them, that's what they buy at the end of the day. They're looking for that guy because they might not be getting it at home. They might not be getting in the relationship. They look to you like, I was going through hell for the past couple of shows that I went through. But G kept me grounded, and that's why I appreciate him and I'll give him his flowers. But sometimes that coach is that person between you and competing as they keep your mind in check to get to show day, you know?
Yeah, no, most definitely, dude. Like it just, brother, the mind is strong. The mind
Mhm.
is very strong. So I think when we just feel that we don't have others to talk to, or we're in this alone, that just destroys you.
Yeah.
You become this person, and your whole mindset completely changes, and you're digging yourself in a grave, right? Not physically, but mentally. Like you're just going
Mentally, yeah.
pushing very, very far. And then at that point, it's very hard. Like, you get into depression, and it's very difficult to get out of that hole
Hmm.
because I've seen it. I've seen it happen. It's tough. Like that's why I think it's mandatory and recommended to have that support system.
Yeah. I
So
like that.
Brandon, I want to get back to your season that's upcoming, and
Yeah.
you, you made some interesting moves, right? Like we already spoke about you cutting your season short last year to come back even stronger, and now you're going for some big hitter shows right out the bat. I mean, and as a friend, you're looking great, right? Like we're seeing the improvements. I wouldn't blow smoke if I didn't see it. But you're also like, let's say Pittsburgh, for example, that first call out, they're all call out Olympians. So, um, is it more of like, hey, I'm proving this to myself that I can do it, or are there other reasons that went into that decision?
Um, so a lot of people have told me pick a strategic show, pick a smaller show. Like, why would you do this? It's a political show. Dude, I don't care. Like I'm bringing my best physique. I got second on my pro debut. It was a battle against Alex. On my second show, I was up there with, battling it out with Vitor. Ended up third, but I was battling it out with Vitor, and Vitor is what, a top 8 Olympian. So I know what I bring to the stage, and I know that the next time, I took this time off to come back better. Ryan Clark, I beat Ryan Clark, I beat Drew, and these are all Olympians. So I think I can kind of like, I know where I'm at. I know where I stand, and I know that maybe in the Olympiad I would have made it. I'm not saying I could have, should have, would have. I don't know.
No, say it, bro. Say it. You can
I mean,
stack up with the
listen,
best of them.
listen.
No, but I feel like I can hang up there. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
Yeah,
your
hey,
first two
hey,
Just say
shows
it.
top three. I mean, It's not top 20, but it's top three. That's something to like actually like, you know, pat yourself on the back, man. That's
And
good
then on top
shit.
of that, the Pittsburgh Pro, it's the whole Olympic judging panel. So I want to get my name out there. Whatever I did last season, I put that behind me. That was
Yeah.
last season. 2025 is now. So I'm focused on what this year has to offer, right? I know that I made the improvements I needed. That's exactly why I took the time off. Now I'm here. Now I'm on prep. Whatever improvements I made, if I didn't make the improvements I needed, I mean, I guess we'll find out in a few weeks. But from here on out, like I think for me, Pittsburgh is the show to just, I came out last season blazing. So I was like, I just got to go balls deep this season. I'm like, why
Sorry,
not?
guys. She just wants to say hi.
I was like, I'm just gonna come out this season blazing, and whatever happens, happens. I mean, yeah, it is stacked with
So
full Olympians, but why not? Like, why can't I do that? Whether I win or not, why not?
I think you definitely can. I think it is a unique sport, right? Because it's subjective and there's no guarantees. I mean, there's no guarantees in any sport, but you never know who shows up, and then even who shows up, like you said, like they could peak well, they could peak off. So no
The way I
doubt
see
you
it is the goal is to get to the Olympia, right? These guys are Olympians. So I'm gonna see them either out of the gate or at the Olympia. So why not go head to head against them right now, right off the bat?
so do you think people put the Olympia on a pedestal where it's like all they care about is getting to the Olympia and they almost lose sight of the whole point, which is just be the best you can be and
To
compete with the
compete.
dogs?
Yeah.
So this is a conversation I had with one of my boys all the time, and we argue about it all the fucking time because at the end of the day, like you have your opinion, I have my opinion. Our point of views, maybe we're not gonna see eye to eye, which is okay. That's why it's an opinion. But I mean, you guys could agree with me or not. The way I see it, right, is once you're an Olympian and let's say you've gotten like top 20, like what's the next step? Making it to top 10. Like you make it to top 10, it's like trying to win the Olympia, but that's an Olympia goal. Aside from the Olympia to get to the Olympia, the way I judge a person is on who have you beaten to get to the Olympia, right? If you haven't beaten anybody, I don't know, like any really na any good names, I don't really have that same respect for you as if you were to be a Brandon Hendrickson before you got to the Olympia, to get to the Olympia, right? Like that's the way I see it. You
So
just got
competition matters.
competition definitely matters, yeah. And I think anybody can get to the Olympia. It just, you got to be strategic enough. You get to a show and nobody shows up and you win. I mean, you made it to the Olympia. Who did you beat to get there? Now, if you were being competitive and, eight Olympians show up, nine Olympians show up to get to the Olympia and you beat all of them, it's like, all right, I got respect for you. Like, I know where you stand. You made a name for yourself and you're a potential threat.
Listen, if you pull out if you win pit, that's
When you win pit.
I know, yeah, I was just gonna say
when you
I mean,
win
that's
When.
existence right
Ain't
here.
no if when.
when well, we
10
gotta be
weeks, 10
careful.
weeks.
We gotta be careful because as we get more pros on the show, then we gotta be telling all of them like, well, when you win, we
Nah,
got
man. Hey,
No, but
my money's on Brandon
we
right
got
now.
we have Deke Walker's coming on next week.
oh,
So
sweet. Yeah, I saw, dude, crazy conditioning. Nasty, nasty fucking conditioning. He's a great guy as well, bro. I look up to him a lot. He
yeah,
Very,
definitely
very humble too.
very humble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and his coach as well. I actually
I
did.
Green.
Yeah, I agree.
Ishmael.
Ishmael.
Yeah.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very humble guy as well. He actually wanted to recruit me as an
I
client.
bet he did. He
I'm
saw you.
sure he
He saw.
did. I'm sure
Since
he did
day
right
one, dude, since
here.
day, he still hits me up. He's like, "Yo, I mean, if you ever change your mind, I'm here." I'm like, "I'm good, bro. I
Yeah.
appreciate you, but yeah, dude, D comes in with some nasty conditioning. I mean, he's probably one of the best conditioning I've ever seen in person. Like, dude is gnarly.
Yeah.
That
It's
Miami
crazy to see
muscle.
how
That
much
Miami
he's
muscle.
improved.
Both of you peaked perfectly for Miami.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
you guys
I
were
could have
full.
came in more conditioned, and a lot more fuller. But you know, it just
Well, I think part of it is I was comparing it to what I just saw at Optimum, and it was just such an improvement. That's probably
yeah.
why. But
The
I
thing
bet,
about me is, um, if I flatten out, it's very hard for me to fill up. Like if I flatten the fuck out, for me to fill out, it just takes a little bit of time. That's why now, like my high days are 360 gram of carbs. Like I'm eating a shit ton right now. My which is comes out to 30, like 3,400 calories a day. And then my low days will be like 21, 2,200 calories a day. So I'm still eating a shit ton,
but
but
you're
maintaining my fullness.
how many weeks out are you?
I'm 10 and a half weeks out.
So what you think probably will probably start dropping at like 8 weeks out?
And I mean, obviously the food's gonna continue to
Yeah,
drop. But
right.
the
Yeah.
point, the thing is, like I'm eating a lot more now than I was previously, and that's because I flatten out really, really quick. Like on a low day from one day to the next, I'll flatten out. So we're trying to keep the food as high as possible, you know, obviously to make weight, and then from there we'll start carving up. But as long as I can keep food high, I'm good. A lot of guys, you know, dude, there's guys that could eat zero carbs and still look like they were eating a shit ton of carbs. Like Jason,
Bubbly. Yeah.
yeah, Jason Hume, dude, he goes zero carbs for I don't know how fucking long. And he just posted a video not too long ago. That fucking guy looks peeled and full as a motherfucker. And that's zero carbs. There's guys that can do it, there's guys that can't. Like you gotta learn your body. It just
So
takes
let's get back to the Arnold real quick.
oh
We'll
yeah,
go around. Yeah, yeah. Let's go. I'll pull up the.
let me get some water
The
real quick.
list.
Back. Give me a second.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bro, you never did the placings, right?
Nah, we never did.
No, we're doing it right now.
G looking fresh with that fade, man. I don't know, man.
Saying?
He be acting different every time he get a haircut. Look at that.
You know what I'm saying? Man.
Smooth.
Yeah, bro, you know, um, I think Aaron might win. Oh, one second. One second.
Yeah, these guys
If
just
you
post
if you
their
So
had to bet
their
on if
picks.
you had to bet
so
on it though,
so Brandon, let's go from six all the way up to first.
From six, I'll go from first down.
Okay. All right.
In first, dude, it just depends on how Banks comes in. Banks conditioning is never shocking. Banks' physique has always looked
Let's
the
see.
same for the longest. I mean, now he said he's closer to his weight cap. Mm. You know, like I said, it's pictures as well, you know. I don't know how he's
yeah,
gonna look.
crazy the crazy lighting and
He's definitely a lot fuller,
yeah,
but I don't
chest.
yeah, a lot fuller, but when you're standing next to guys that bring that top game conditioning, like you know, Ali, especially his core, Ali's core just stands out so much. But overall package, I do have Aaron Banks, better back, better chest. Um, that fullness looks really good, you know.
I do say he mentioned that he used to stop training shoulders and now he's training his delts again, and he's kind of going all in on his strengths as well as his weaknesses. So maybe that's helping. But I've definitely noticed his chest has been. I mean, his chest seems to get better every year.
I don't think so. I don't think every year. He definitely has came in flat previously. I think Brandon should have won the Olympia when he won. I don't think he beat Brandon. Um,
I thought the same thing.
Me
yeah,
too.
I don't think
Just
he
he got
should have
his
won. You know, he does look full, but his conditioning always ends up lacking. So, but overall package, I do have him winning. So I'll put him in first.
Okay.
But it just, you know, also depends on political reasons, right? Because Ali right now has his name on a statue. Um, but I'll put Ali in second just because his back is not his strong point. It all also comes down to, you know, Aaron's strong points are Ali's weak points and vice versa. Um, but I got Aaron first, Ollie second. Diogo comes in fucking peeled. Fuck. It's
I'll say
I
Diogo.
just
I
don't
was not always. I mean, I mentioned this on the last
I
episode,
just
but
don't like his core.
his core is shallow,
But his structure is one of the best structures in the game.
but his
But
core is getting better. His core is getting better.
because he's coming in tighter,
Yeah.
and I'm sure he's hitting his I'm sure he's working out some abs. He's working out his core, but his conditioning is there, his fullness is there, his structure is there. I'm just gonna put him in third just because he doesn't have those lines that first and second have. Let me see. Let me see the lineup again. So I got Aaron first, I got Ollie second, I got Diogo in third. Um, I might have Ryan in fourth. Ryan looks nasty, bro. Like fucking nasty.
Yeah, he's really
That was last year. That was last year. Go back.
this is last year.
Yeah, that was last
Uh
year. Right there, right there.
this one.
Yeah, that was the other day. Like, I mean, it's shitty quality, but bro, he just like look at that. Like
No,
he
you
could
could tell. Yeah, you could tell the improvements big
His
he's
time.
chest.
full, bro. He's full. His fucking his muscles just like, dude, it just wants to pop. Like that looks crazy. Um, the thing is about his back that he has that left side injury. So it depends if they want to take that into consideration. But his structures, he has a really nice structure as well. And he's full. His muscle bellies are maxed the fuck out. He's peeled. Uh, I think I think he could beat Yogo, actually. It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
Well, but what about Jason? I mean, Jason's
Also very, very full. Yeah, this is the guy. Like he just posted a video. Check his last video. I think he posted it yesterday. Right there. Yeah, physique updates. Like this is no carbs, bro. No carbs, and you're still this full. Jason's a guy that he doesn't look ready. Show day comes, and he's on one. Like the guy is on a fucking like he's on the money.
Yeah, he has a nice physique.
So and he peaks really well. So yeah, Aaron first, Ollie second. I'm in between Ryan and Diogo for third. Um, I'm gonna put Diogo in third just because he won the Arnold. I'm gonna put Ryan Clark in fourth because I think he just has a very nice V taper. A little bit more, Jason poses by the front, just like Ryan Terry. I'm not a really big fan of that pose. Um, I'm gonna put him in fifth, and then let me see. I like Vitor for six. I think Vitor is bringing a different package this year. I think he's streamed down his physique a lot. I think he was coming out a little bit too big, but I think he can crack that top six. I mean, he's always in the mix. He's got a crazy structure as well. That's top six, right?
Yeah.
Aaron,
Chris.
Aaron.
What do you think? Would
Who
you
for
change
me?
that? Yeah, would you change that or
Uh Man, I would honestly just like to see Ali win, and that's just like I guess from a bias standpoint. But I could see how
He's really
interchangeable the
humble
top,
too. Very humble
yeah,
guy.
I could see how the top four that Brandon picked could be interchangeable. You know, it just depends how they come to stage, like he said. You know,
Like
G, what do you?
Diogo's not consistent on his peaking. That's why I'm in between Ryan and him. I know Ryan, this is gonna be his best look to date. So that's why
Yeah,
I might have him in third, depending on how Diogo comes in, right? If Diogo comes in on point, I think Diogo could take third, fourth Ryan, fifth Jason, and sixth Vitor.
I I think people underestimate the power of improvements, right? Because especially with the judges that have seen these athletes multiple times, if Ryan comes in perfectly peaked with the improvements he's made, and even if Diogo stays the same, you know, what happens there, right? Like even
Yeah,
if
how do
Diogo
judges
looks
take that to
like
consideration?
like
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 that,
like
that big.
Diogo looks the way he did when he won, but he's also not much better. And then you have Ryan Clark coming in here. He's starting to fill out his back even more. His injury is not as noticeable. His chest is probably the fullest on stage.
I actually applied for the Arnold, and
I
I
know
was
you
getting,
did.
yeah, I was
I,
getting
I,
very,
I, I didn't want to bring it up because I didn't know how you felt about it, but
yeah, yeah.
I know
Dude,
that
I
was
mean, I
very
don't really
brutal.
care. Like, I'll talk about anything, bro. I really, I don't give a shit. Um,
We could
but
tell. We're gonna have you back on.
yeah, bro, I don't like to talk shit about anybody or throw out names. So I'm trying to hold my shit together. Yeah, Emmanuel Costa, he brings in very good conditioning too, but I don't have him on top six at the Arnold.
G, what do you think? I know you like Ali, man. I know you like Ali, bro.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go Ali for first, and then Aaron second, um, Diogo third, Vitor fourth,
Oh, he
and then I'm
likes
gonna put Ryan.
he
I'm gonna
likes
put Ryan Clark fifth. I just think because like I'm just looking at like the criteria now with Ryan being like the two-time champ, and I'm thinking about what's the most comparable to Ryan. So
I agree. I can
I
see that.
see Ali more towards that than Aaron.
Yeah.
Even with the improvements that Aaron may make, or Sanat
But no, City. The one that's
City,
City right now,
the other the Arnold, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
he's
City
very
Poirier.
I don't think the long arms, I think he needs to, it's just he needs to improve his chest fullness. Um it's similar to Aaron, they just don't have I don't know, man. I don't feel like that's the criteria, just like G was saying.
I think he needs to work on his posing. And he also needs to get his gyno taken care of. I
Yeah.
think he's got a great physique. He doesn't really have that many weaknesses.
I feel he needs to fill it out some more.
I yeah, I might change. I'll probably put Vitor in that sixth spot over City only because the lineup, like it's a shorter lineup. And to your point, I
I
think
love
Aaron,
Vitor, bro. Vitor has
I
a really good beat
yeah,
taper.
yeah. I think Aaron is Aaron. He'll be top three, but I don't think City's physique. I don't think the lineup benefits City's physique. So I'm actually gonna put Vitor in.
I feel like Vitor poses a lot like G.
He does.
Vitor?
Yeah.
Well, G's very bubbly. Like G.
Like I think you guys pose very similar. When was this?
Except I can't do that hands off the hip pose.
But he
Them
hits
hands off the hip pose.
he hits the one hand on the hip.
Yeah,
Oh, he
wait.
does.
Hey,
Yeah.
but wait till you unlock it though, G.
Like right there, you see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think this shit's ugly as fuck right here, but it's just I guess
I
I don't
don't
That's
know
his
know.
why.
sig that's
Yeah.
his
He
signature.
that
That's his signature.
transition's crazy, bro.
That's his signature.
but he looks really good, bro.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I just hope he can fill out, and not have a problem
He
where
looks
he
flat.
goes.
I can tell. I can
Well,
tell he
he obviously in prep, you're gonna he's gonna look flat, but I'm wondering if he can come in and fill this physique out. I know he just started working with cuts, so yeah, I think I'd probably put him in six. I still think it's gonna be tough to beat Jason and Ryan. Jason with his consistency and Ryan with the improvements he's made.
I feel like Vitor can beat Jason. I think he can. If he comes in on point,
I think any of these guys could beat anyone, to be honest. This lineup is very interchangeable.
I can agree with you having Ali in first. Having Ryan and having Ali already have beaten um Aaron Banks. So I think Ali can be in that top.
So wait, you had Aaron, so now you're thinking you're gonna rethink that? You're gonna put Ali in as the winner?
It's just tough, It just depends how Aaron comes in. I mean, Ali comes in on point. Like I have no doubt that Ali is not coming in on
And we
point.
can't forget that Diogo won last year, so you already know he's gonna have that fire going into this one.
Yeah, but I don't
Yeah.
have him. I don't have him in the top two.
Yeah, I think Diogo, he also obviously missed the Olympia So we haven't seen him
Yeah.
since.
We don't know where he stands with these guys, but
Uh,
even so,
yeah.
I don't think that he can beat Ali or Aaron Banks.
Yeah.
Especially Aaron is a multi-Arnold champ. Ali beat Aaron. So, I mean, I think
I
Yeah.
I have
Mhm.
Aaron winning because one, I think he'll bring the best physique, but two, he's more complete than Ali. He has a back. If you're really gonna go by flaws, if Aaron fills out, I just don't see how you can overlook the fact that Ali's back is not. It might not even be the second best back on stage, right?
It's not the best. It's not. It's
So
not.
when I look at Ali's physique, I'm so distracted by his core. But then when I really look around, I start to see areas that could probably be improved. And with Aaron, I kind of just see an entire physique for what it is. I don't really get distracted in a good way. And I also think that Aaron, he never lost his title, right? Like he took time off from the Arnold, but he never lost his title. So I think him coming back, I think they'll give it to him. We've also noticed that a lot of times the people that are not doing well at the Olympia or getting what they want at the Olympia are winning the Arnold. You look at Issa and wellness, Laura Lee, right, in bikini. These girls they dominate the Arnold, then they go to the Olympia, and they both just recently won their first Olympias. I think this is the show that Aaron will win. Whether he wins the Olympia or not, I don't know.
I mean, you have
I
Vitor. Vitor got third last year. Um, but yeah, none of these guys.
This is a stronger lineup than last year. Keep in mind. So I would say Aaron, Ali. I have Jason coming in third, Ryan fourth. Who am I missing here?
Vitor.
So you left Diogo out of the
Oh yeah,
Sorry.
top four?
Yeah, Aaron, Ali,
threw Diogo to
Diogo.
the curb. Said fuck him.
No, Diogo's third. I put Diogo third. I think he's looking good. He looks like his core is coming in a little bit crisper. Then Ryan, or sorry, Jason, then Ryan, and then Vitor. Yeah, round up top six. Yeah,
Nice.
but I kind of look at it in buckets of three. I think we have the Aaron, Ali, Vitor battle. Sorry, Diogo battle, and then we have Vitor, Jason, and Ryan, and then next three battle.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be exciting.
Okay.
I want to keep highlighting these athletes because I think it's important. That there's a lot, and it's interesting because I've played different sports. I used to play lacrosse. Like a lot of my friends don't know about bodybuilding, right? Like my community does, my bodybuilding friends do. But I want to make sure that we spread the athletes that should get the recognition for the right reasons. And that's part of the reason why we wanted this platform is to highlight amateurs, pros, people like you, Brandon, who are bringing that genuine character to the sport. They're not being anything but themselves, right? And they just happen to be a great human being and a great athlete. So I know I speak for myself, like it's been a blast having you on. We've gone an hour 45 minutes, I think, or an hour 50 minutes, whatever it was.
We'll
And
get a part two. We gotta get a part two. We
oh
gotta get
yeah,
Brandon on,
I
man.
think
Yeah.
Brandon, we would love to have you back on after your next few shows just to see where your
Recap.
head's at, how it's going, lead up to your Olympia, which I know you're going to be there. So,
Yes,
That's the
sir.
um,
plan. Definitely the plan. That's the
do,
goal.
do you have any we're going to end this podcast with if what do you want your legacy to be when it's all hung up, when your board shirts are hung up, what's
I
your
don't know,
legacy?
man, because like I've definitely asked myself a shit ton of times about maybe making the move to classic, but then maybe just staying in men's physique because when I first started men's physique, I didn't have that love that I do have for men's physique division now. Obviously you look at bodybuilding, you don't look at bodybuilding in shorts. You know what I mean? Like bodybuilding is not board shorts. Now it is. So I've grown to love this division and I see myself being in men's physique for a very long time, if not a very long time, for the rest of my bodybuilding career. I honestly I think I'm pushing more of staying in men's physique as, health wise. I don't have to bulk up more, take more anabolics, push a shit ton of weight. And I think it just fits me. I really love the division. for what it is, and it's continuously growing by the year. And I think it's been more competitive. It's one of the most competitive divisions right now compared to, obviously every division's coming up, especially now classic with CBUM. But I think men's physique is one of the most competitive divisions in the sport.
No doubt. No doubt. I think I appreciate you saying that because there's a lot of people that are so quick to leave the division.
It depends, like you have a physique, right? Like guys tell me I should go to classic because of my muscle bellies, or maybe go open. Maybe if I started back in the days, maybe I would end up in open. I don't know, but as far as structure wise, you have a structure for each division. Like there's guys in open, like let's say for instance, Nick Walker. Nick Walker can't do men's physique. Like he doesn't have a men's physique structure. So
That'd be crazy. I want to see I want to see Nick Walker in some board shorts.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't fit in any board shorts, dude. But it's like, you have a structure for each division. Like you can't force yourself in a men's physique division if you don't have that V taper, if
Yeah.
you're just naturally a fucking refrigerator. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, it's true, Nick Walker's a fridge, so he won't fit
Yeah.
in a physique division, right? You need to have, men's now it's changed a lot because of who the champ is, Ryan Terry. Um, so the criteria might change, but I mean, it changes every year.
Yeah.
So it's very hard to go in one direction when then maybe the following year changes directions.
It's a
But I
bit
think,
it's a bit like fashion, right? Like it changes and
but
then it
I
comes
think
back
it's
around.
moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
I think that they're looking more for a Ryan Terry physique, and I think that it's opening up a lot of a large window for the men's physique division because it's not an Aaron Banks look where you have like this very tiny waist. I think it gives more flexibility in the division.
Well, we know that whatever you do, whether you stay in men's league or classic,
I'm
you
staying in men's physique, bro. I'm just gonna call it right now. Fuck
There
love
you
it.
go.
There we go. There we go. He's one of us. All right.
it.
Hey, Team Men's Physique.
We're gonna be watching you. You should come up and I've been trying to tell you fitness system up in Sawgrass. I know it's a bit of a hike, but we would
I
love you
know,
to
dude. It's just like I'm on prep right now, and I just go in the
yeah,
gym,
Yeah,
get my
no
shit
rush.
done, and
No
yeah,
rush. No
we would love
rush.
to see
you
you
know
up
how
here.
prep is.
If not, I'll definitely come back down to elevation and I'll catch you for a lift. And I know we're gonna be at Miami. I might even try to get to Pittsburgh. I don't know, but either way, we're gonna be rooting for you. And
Appreciate you.
really appreciate you coming on the pod. You're our first pro guest, starting out things strong. Um, and we'll definitely want you back this season, man. We definitely want to have you back on. There's so much to talk about. So really appreciate having you on.
Yeah,
Uh,
appreciate you for coming on, my brother.
I
Thank you,
appreciate you
my
guys.
brother.
It was,
Yeah.
it was, it was nice catching up and letting you guys know my opinion on things and just wrapping up the whole division.
For sure. All right,
Send the
guys.
people off with something.
The what?
So give the people a positive message,
Ah,
a
fuck.
send off.
Bro, I mean, look,
I know I put you on the spot. You got it though.
nah, just have fun with it, really. I mean, this sport isn't for everyone, and if you can find yourself along the journey, along the way, then by all means, like go all in, just really have fun with it and don't be an asshole. Don't become somebody that you're not. Be you, be who you truly are, and then you'll find your way along the way.
Yo, that was cute as fuck. I'm gonna throw up
That
a
was
heart for
cute.
that.
That was cute.
Chris loves the hearts. All right, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm all about Drake, man. Love.
I
Let's
know
Uh,
go.
we got to get that rest, that beauty sleep. You're on prep, so we'll let you get to it. But we'll chat soon, my man.
all right, man. I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good night.
Our
You as
brother.
well, brother.